The discussion will be about Mica regulation and its adaptation across countries and sectors. We have one speaker online. That is Žvelc, a legal officer at DG FISMA, European Commission. Rock, are you there? Hi, Rock. I'm just introducing you, and then I will introduce the panel members who are here. Our second panel member is here, Natália Michalovová, from the law firm Prosman and Pavlovič. Welcome, Natália. Then I have Mateusz from CEO at Ari10, a guest from Poland visiting us today. And Peter Pénzeš, head of crypto asset innovation section at the Slovak National Bank. Welcome to our panel members. I also would like to thank our sponsors again, the Israel Embassy, Polish Embassy, the Slovak National Bank, the Ministry of Finance of the Slovak Republic, CRIF, Slovak Credit Bureau, DXC Technology, Visa, and Bursa Cenovných papierov v Bratislave, Digfin, that is an online mortgage broker. I would like to thank our partners and sponsors for making this event possible. And we also have our B2B partner, Laia, gallery partner, Triumph Gallery Slovakia, drink partner, Blue Water, media partner, Sita, FinReport, Nextech, Bankovnictví, Euroekonom, Satoshi, Finansive Pohode, Smart Money Match, Okrypte, Docent, Trader 2.0, and Centelic. And I make sure I didn't miss anybody here. Fumbi Crypto, Bliskeva. These are our supporters and partners, but the main thanks to the main partners, of course. And we'll open this panel discussion. We will do it like this. We start with all the panel members being able to make not long, but somewhat longer opening statement on a fairly generic question. Then I will continue after that with questions and answers. We try to keep it a little bit shorter with a dialogue between the panel members, and hopefully we'll get a very good discussion. So that's the format of this panel. And our first generic question, that is, what is Mica? And who and what does Mica apply to? What are the key points of the Mica regulation? So those are three questions within the same topic. And we will start with our panel member, Natália, please.
Okay, thank you. So, hello. So Mica is new European regulation which covers new fundamental things, which is crypto asset. So we have two divided crypto assets and cryptocurrencies. And Mica is the new regulation which covers cryptocurrencies. No, crypto assets, because cryptocurrencies are covered by another regulation as MiFID II and another one.
You can keep the microphone and put it on your table. I have another one here. Okay. And we'll continue with Mateusz.
Okay, so basically what is Mica? Mica is a European regulation that wants to make a regulatory framework for all the cryptocurrency and crypto asset businesses from European Union. Right now we have several licenses in jurisdictions, but they are not the same. They are not covering the same aspects, all of them. And most of all, they are they cannot be passported to another country. So if you are licensed in one European country, you cannot operate legally in another using the same regulations. So that's why Mica came to action, and its mainly purpose is to make a regulatory framework that would work toward all European countries, and you can just be regulated in one country and operate in whole Europe, and it's the main aspect. And the second aspect from the business perspective, it's to make a more safe environment for cryptocurrency businesses. And in my opinion, it was needed to have this regulation because there was so much gray area covering crypto, covering blockchain, and right now with this regulatory framework, we can operate in a full regulated environment, and that's why I think the businesses, big businesses in crypto, the good actors in crypto, can develop and can grow much faster after Mica come to action. So.
Thank you. And Peter Pénzeš from our national bank here in Slovakia.
Thank you. So I would maybe add one or two objectives to what's already been said about Mica. It's, of course, about creating a single European market for crypto asset providers, but it's also about providing level of security to investors, because the crypto assets are quite new concept on the market. They've been born in 2009, so they are now like 15 years old. So they are in their teen years, and they went through their ups and downs. And over the last 15 years, it was recognized that there are many benefits in crypto assets, but also there are many risks in this area, and these risks need to be somehow identified and managed. And that's also one of the objectives of the Mica, to help to create safe environment for investors, but also for companies that are operating on the market. So I would say that that's the main objective, and there are many tools in the Mica to achieve that objective. I think we come to that a bit later.
Thank you, Peter. And now over to Žvelc, Legal Officer at DG FISMA, European Commission.
Thank you. I think the colleagues have already quite well summarized what Mica is about. So it is one of the first legal frameworks in the world on crypto assets. This is very important because we are setting the standards here at as a European Union jurisdiction. And it was already mentioned, it is covering crypto assets that are not yet regulated, because, for example, where a financial instrument, a security, is recorded in the blockchain, in the DLT, it is already regulated by the existing financial services legislation. So it has a kind of negative scope. It covers everything, all crypto assets that are currently not regulated. And the objectives were already quite well explained. So we are really want to promote innovation by providing predictability, legal certainty, possibility to scale up by the passporting provisions, and of course addressing risks to consumers, so the consumers will be able to turn to supervised financial institutions to trade crypto and to keep crypto. We will address market integrity, because there is a lot of issues in terms of market abuse in the crypto asset markets, and of course financial stability, as well as monetary sovereignty, which are also important objectives. Just the final element on the state of play where we are. I think I was in this panel 2 years ago when we just had trilogues between the Commission, Council, and the European Parliament, but it was then adopted in June 2023, and it will start applying in June 2024 as regards so-called stable coins. We call them asset reference tokens and e-money tokens. So those are crypto assets that stabilize the value vis-a-vis other assets, so that are kind of stable. And as to the rest of Mica, so crypto asset service providers and also other provisions will start applying at the end of 2024. And meanwhile, now we are preparing the implementing acts. The European supervisory authorities are working on a large number of technical standards, and we are also at the Commission side preparing delegated acts that we will adopt before the application of Mica provisions.
Here's a question that any one of the panel members can start with. What are the advantages and benefits, results from the introduction of Mica for European countries? Okay, Peter from the Central Bank.
I think benefits are clear. There's going to be a clear set of rules for this new sector, because from our perspective in the Central Bank and Supervisory Authority, it's a new financial market sector that was created by Mica. We see many jurisdictions abroad that are struggling with regulating crypto. We see US where the regime is, in some states more, in other states less supportive. At the federal level, there doesn't seem to be, any coordination. The acts of various public players at the federal level are, scattered, not leading into a meaningful direction. In Europe, the Mica certainly sent a strong signal that Europe really wants to be a leader in technology regulation. We already have other legislative tools that are very good labels for companies willing to operate in Europe and abroad. We have MiFID as an example. Now we have Mica. So having this legal certainty for business on the European market, I think that's the great benefit, not only for those businesses, but also for investors, for consumers, because they will have opportunity to benefit from a good layer of investor protection. And then I think it's also a good signal to investors, because there will be more clarity about where their money is going. The Mica sets a catalog of crypto asset services that are regulated and clear rules for each service. So I think those are the benefits for businesses, consumers, and investors. The clarity, I think it's in one word.
And for the industry, so I will give this question over to Mateusz.
Okay, so I think that all pros were covered, and there are pros for countries and pros for major businesses, and I'm from the major crypto business. But thinking about the cons of this regulation, I would say that it will stop a little bit innovation in Europe, and I think that smaller companies, new companies, will look for another jurisdictions to start their businesses because of the cost, the starting cost of new crypto businesses. Crypto-related businesses in Europe will be much higher, and that's why new startups, before raising money, before start operating, will look for another jurisdiction to start their journey, and maybe after they get to the majority point, they will come to Europe. And I'm not saying that it's bad, because it's the way which businesses you want to attract, and I think that for Europe it's better to attract major grow businesses, not just the startups.
Yes, of course, not just the startup. Natália, you have a comment on the question as well.
Thank you. I think that the Mica is important also by law, because it's the first time when it's recognized the existence of crypto assets, and we know what is crypto assets from the legal point of view. And it's also the way have to avoid escape from the investors from Europe.
Okay, thank you. And Rock, online Rock, are we there? I'm sure you have something to add here.
Yeah, again, so it's really, we want to protect investors, so consumers. We want to protect market integrity, financial stability. Also, when it comes to so-called stable coins, they can be also used as a means of exchange because they are stable. So they could also raise issues in terms of monetary sovereignty if they could be widely used. So we will address these concerns and risks with Mica. But again, it's also good for business. We want to onshore crypto assets operators by providing predictability, legal certainty, possibility to scale up within the European Union. Of course, we provide quite robust requirements, especially for stable coins. We will provide quite robust requirements also for crypto asset service providers, because this is a financial services activity which needs to be regulated, because here we are talking about money that is held by the investors, and it's important that we protect them. That, for example, one example is, if they keep crypto assets or the keys in the wallet, so that this wallet will provide procedures and policies to prevent that these keys are lost, for example, and that they know to which supervisor service providers they can turn to, so that they are supervised and they are reliable. So this also prevents fraud and all other negative consequences for which crypto assets are quite famous.
Thank you, Rock. I have a new question here for the panel. How are states, regulators, and innovative companies preparing for Mica? Are they prepared? Are they ready?
So maybe I will start because
yes, please.
We are in the stage of preparing our company to Mica regulation. I don't think that any company could say right now that they are 100% prepared for Mica, because we are still lacking of more clarification from the national regulators. So right now we have just the Mica framework, but we are still waiting for how the regulation will be implemented in European countries. So right now I think that most of the companies are looking for friendly and open for crypto businesses jurisdiction in Europe, and it's the most important part to look for and find a regulator which is open to work with crypto, because from my business perspective, I would say that not every country in Europe would want to operate with crypto businesses. They must do it, but they would do it slower. They will not clarify everything on time, and it was like that with other European regulations also. So that's why the most important part is to choose good and friendly, open regulator, which is open for dialogue with the companies. And the second part is to prepare your operations for the whole Mica regulation. And I think it's for the grown businesses, it's the easier part than the first one.
Okay.
Well, you asked also about how states are preparing for Mica, so maybe I will cover this angle. In the National Bank of Slovakia, we've, from the very first moment the European Commission published Mica proposal, realized that this is an opportunity, that this is something in the area of innovation that is becoming very, very tangible, and in the future it's something that we can focus on. It's been made clear a couple of years ago when our new governor took his office that he sees innovations as an opportunity for this country and for the National Bank. So after the Mica was passed a couple of months ago, the first thing we did, we went to our governor and challenged him a bit how serious he is about his promise to support innovations and he really kept his promise, and he helped us to create a dedicated unit within the central bank, or supervisory part of the central bank, for crypto assets. And over the summer, we've hired 7 people, some with good background in crypto assets and practical experience. So we made sure that we have good experts on board. We are now finishing this process of onboarding new people in my unit. And another way how we are preparing is, well, we are in communication with those companies that are looking for a good place to seek for license. So I think we are making it quite transparent on our webpage that what are our expectations, and we are going to put even more information on our webpage and use opportunities such as this to interact with the businesses and the public. That it's important that anyone who comes to us seeking the license is well aware of what we want from basically our client. So apart from making sure we have right people, we are also making sure that we are transparent and understandable to the industry. This is another element of how we are getting prepared. I can maybe conclude by saying that nobody can be prepared at this very moment, because as Rok mentioned, a lot needs to be finalized at the European level, because Mica is not the end. Mica is just the beginning. There are many rules that needs to be made. There are 50 implementing acts that needs to be finalized by EBA and ESMA. There are a couple of delegated acts that the Commission is now finalizing. So after there is full clarity on the legislation, I think that's going to be the moment where at the level of states we can say that now we are prepared to fully discuss all the implications of getting the license with businesses.
Thank you, Peter. Now over to Natália.
I think that have one regulation, it's a complex of regulations. It's only one baby steps, and we will see in the future how the states are prepared for application of this regulation.
And Rok from the European Commission.
Yeah, so for the companies, the first point of contact is the national supervisor, because Mica will be supervised by the national competent authorities, except in some cases of significant stable coins, asset reference tokens, or e-money tokens, where there will be also direct supervision by the European supervisory authorities, by the EBA. Then it was already mentioned that we have lots of implementing acts to adopt that are being prepared by the EBA and ESMA, so European Supervisory Authorities. And here I would also invite the stakeholders to look at the public consultations, because these documents are being or will be now in autumn submitted to public consultations, and you have the opportunity to comment on those drafts. So I think it's useful that you seize this opportunity to be able to also participate in this process.
I have a follow-up question for you there, Rok. Since Europe is leading regulation, not only with Mica, but in many other fields, not only in finance for that matter, is Europe going to gain any competitive tool or advantage in the global environment by moving first with a sound, clear regulation regarding cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, it's in general, if there is a predictability and legal certainty, and also the size of the market, which is essential, is definitely makes it attractive to provide services or issue in the European Union. So this is, I think, the fact. And in general, by the business, it was welcome. As we say, we want to promote innovation. We want to onshore. We don't want to ban or prevent crypto assets, but we want to regulate and address the risks that arise from these new assets. So definitely, I will not talk about competitive advantage, but it's good that we have a predictable legal framework that we will have in place, so the rules of the games will be known in the European Union.
Would you agree to the statement that Europe is setting the agenda when it comes to crypto regulation?
Just to let you know that when there was Libra announced by there was a Libra announcement. That's triggered a lot of discussions at international level how to regulate those global stablecoins that could raise issues also in terms of monetary policy. And this was discussed in G7 and also in G20. And already at that time, the Financial Stability Board prepared recommendations how to regulate global stablecoins. And we were very much inspired by those recommendations. And now a Financial Stability Board has worked even further and amended those recommendations and issue also broader recommendations on crypto asset services with the objective to protect services and activities. So broader recommendation, not just stablecoins, but also other activities, what is also in the scope of Mica. So now we have a kind of a global regulatory and supervisory framework at global level, which is important because this will also guide the policy and similar frameworks in other jurisdictions, because crypto assets, they are inherently cross-border global activities. So it's important that we have consistency and coherence of legal frameworks of different jurisdictions. And then also other standard setters are working on crypto assets. For example, the Basel, in terms of exposure of banks to crypto assets, there have been also standards issued. Then IOSCO is working on investor protection, market integrity aspects. So this is very, very much discussed at the international framework, which will guide also other jurisdictions to adopt similar frameworks.
Comes to?
I think it really has been a bold move from EU to come up with Mica. All those elements mentioned by Rock, yeah, they combined together, and a perfect storm happened. Certainly, Libra or DM was a strong push towards creating some rules, and it's not that often that the Europe comes with rules that then the global standard setters are taking as an example. So I think it's been a very, very good move, and it's also the area of the anti-money laundering, for example, where we see a lot of going on, not only at the European but also international level. So there is really this global movement with respect to crypto assets, and in the future, these global rules that are now being made, and some of them are inspired by Mica, all those global rules will need to be implemented across the whole world. So we definitely are going to see more and more Mica-like instruments also in other countries.
Thank you. And from the industry's point of view?
Okay, so Mica is a step in a very, very good direction, but for Europe to become a crypto blockchain hub for the businesses, there is also the practical side, the practical business struggles we have on a daily basis. So, in my opinion, if Mica will help us to build better relation with traditional finance, for example, banks, payment providers, financial institutions, then we will say that Europe is a hub for the innovation, for the blockchain, for cryptocurrencies. Right now, the relationship between crypto space and, I would say, traditional finance space is harsh. So if this regulation will help to build better relation with the actors that are already on the market and that are providing services most crypto companies need right now, I would say that it worked. But as I said, Mica is really good step in the right direction to do that.
Okay, a follow-up question on that. Should a crypto market or marketeers be regulated like any other financial institution by respective central bank? So they're chartered by the central bank and thereby creating credibility, or that's the overkill and would stifle the innovation in the industry?
I think it will be too much. No, from my perspective, the regulation that Mica covers right now is enough. So maybe in the future we'll think about some more regulation that are needed. But right now, maybe it's a good starting point and see what happened.
Maybe I can add that Mica is not about regulating crypto assets. It's more about regulating issuers of crypto assets and crypto asset service providers. So those intermediaries that are making it easier for businesses and customers to access the whole crypto world.
Thank you. So how practically will Mica address the issues of consumer protection, market integrity, and anti-money laundering, which I think is a very good topic to bring up here, because at least I could think of several ways how crypto can be used very practically for money laundering, at least in the smaller scale where you fly under the radar. The question is open for anyone.
It's a long answer.
Yes, please give us a short version of the long answer. And I also think Rock have something to tell us about this after you, Peter.
Okay, so maybe I can start with a couple of remarks. You mentioned consumer protection, market integrity, and money laundering. So there is the fourth element as well, and it's IT security. Because it's not just Mica, it's also DORA. DORA is a new legislation coming to the financial services area that put emphasis on IT security. So far, the rules on IT security has been scattered among different legal instruments, and now they are part of one instrument, and they are, I think, quite modern and quite prescriptive. At the same time, leaving room for proportionality. I think that's very important. And for crypto services, having a strong IT security framework is very important, because over the few years of existence of that sector, we've seen many examples where the wallets were compromised, and many crypto businesses had to shut down because the failures in that area. So that's one dimension, a new set of rules for IT security. You mentioned money laundering. In the area of crypto, money laundering rules are not that new, because already in 2018, at the global level, Financial Action Task Force developed this set of rules that should apply for crypto, certain crypto businesses, crypto wallets, and exchange services. These rules were implemented in 2020 in European Union through Anti-Money Laundering Directive number 5. So certain part of the crypto sector has been covered by AML rules that are basically the same as for the rest of the financial sector for some time. The new thing in the area of crypto assets is the travel rule. Those crypto businesses that do transactions, that do payments with crypto, they need to follow this new rule, which is very clear, and it's the same rule that applies to payment services for quite some time. So it's just bringing the level playing field to the crypto area, but at the same time it's quite heavy to crypto assets. They will need to make sure that when they are making the transfer of crypto, they send not only crypto but also send data about who is actually the client sending the crypto and who is the client receiving crypto. So that's gonna be...
So it's the same know your customer rules as for the financial institutions, almost, but not really, because this is just about the transaction. I mean, obviously, we can't make a very serious know your customer investigation just for receiving a payment.
It's going a step farther. KYC is a standard for all, and travel rule is something on top of that for those making payments. And then there is the whole prudential side that serves to give clear rules to businesses, and at the same time it serves to make sure that the customers interact with safe institutions. And I don't want to go into details about that because that's a long story. But certainly there are all these different aspects. It's not just Mica, it's the whole puzzle of rules that are now being rolled out to the crypto industry.
Thank you. And if you could hear from Rock from the other side here.
Yeah, I think this was already well explained, that Mica does not specifically regulate AML requirements or does not provide for AML requirements or cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is regulated by another act that was also adopted in tandem with Mica, which provides cybersecurity requirements for all financial institutions, including now for crypto asset service providers and for the issuers. And also AML, it has been also amended just to also apply to crypto asset service providers, as it was already explained. On consumer protection, there are a lot of rules on that in Mica that protect consumers. For example, one example is like when issuing securities, the issuer needs to prepare a prospectus. We have something similar in Mica. We call it crypto asset white paper. When the crypto assets are issued, the issuer needs to prepare a crypto asset white paper that explains the characteristics of the crypto assets and all provides for all the caveats that this is risky and so on, so that it really informs and provides information to the buyer of crypto assets about the risks and what kind of crypto assets they are buying. Then also we were actually borrowing investor protection requirements from other pieces of financial regulation, like they need to treat a non-discriminatory manner fairly the investors. For example, what is also important, I already mentioned, is when it comes to custody or the trading platform, that the assets there are segregated from the estate of the service providers, because this is a problem when there is a kind of insolvency of the service providers, and then the assets of the customers are then segregated and kept, so they are not lost because of the insolvency of the crypto asset service provider. These are all these kind of caveats that we borrowed from the traditional financial services legislation that now provide those safeguards and protections for the consumers also when they invest in crypto assets.
Thank you, Rok. Mateusz, you have a comment here as well?
Okay. You ask about how companies are going to implement.
Yes,
Mica.
how the consumers can be protected.
Yeah. But I want to go back to that question, because I asked that implementing Mica maybe won't be that hard for most of the companies. But we covered DORA, the topic, and I would say that implementing DORA will be a lot harder than implementing Mica. So that's just the one thing. But we talked about IT security, we talked about AML, and I think the most important part, which was lacking before Mica in the crypto space, was consumer protection, because there were no specific regulation for consumer protection in crypto space. There were also general consumer protection regulations, but we were lacking this specific set of regulations. So in my opinion, it's the most important part, one of the most important parts of Mica. It's how you are transparent with your customers, how you inform them about everything, and also about segregating funds of your customers from your own funds. There are the
segregation of fund. I mean, that must be very fundamental and already implemented long time ago, right?
Yeah, and we saw what can happen when you don't do it. We have many examples of it, one of the biggest last year. So that's why it's really important. And I think
I'm thinking more how Mica is dealing with that the customer actually know what they're risking and understand the instruments they're investing in and understand the risk. That's what I'm more talking about, consumer protection here, because
yes.
I'm a university teacher and I have students been playing around with crypto and say, teacher, you're stupid, you don't play around with crypto. Basically, when I'm telling them that it's speculation and then you invest in something that pays an interest rate like bonds or stocks that pays a dividend, you invest in something that have some underlying value, so to say. And they know, no, teacher, it works so great with crypto. And then they come back a few months later and they lost a lot of money. It happened several times.
So maybe one aspect that we haven't covered yet, and it relates to consumer protection, is something that is called reverse solicitation in Mica, because Mica creates rules for European market, but it cannot impose rules on businesses outside Europe. They will still continue to exist, they will still continue to also interact with people living in the European Union. But what Mica says is that if they want to do business in Europe, they need to get a license in Europe and they need to be established in Europe. But if a consumer from a European Union wishes to use the platforms from outside Europe, the consumer can do so. But it's not the business who can come to the consumer. It's not the provider from USA or Bahamas or anywhere who can actively market itself into Europe after the Mica becomes fully effective. They must refrain from actively approaching the European consumers, but still the European consumers will have the opportunity to come to them. So this is another specificity of Mica. It creates the rules for European providers. At the same time, it also, in this sense, protects consumers, but also those businesses that will be established in Europe from the businesses established outside European Union. So it will somehow, maybe diminish the competition and clear the market for the institutions that are Mica compliant.
Thank you. I have a follow-up question there. I understand that Mica will be great for the serious players in the business, because currently there's lots of fraudsters and unserious players in the business, and they're advertising fully open in social media with clickbaits, and people click on it, and it's all over the place. Will Mica be able to curb companies like Meta and so on to display this kind of advertisement to European consumers as well?
Well, again, there are several layers. One way is that since the Mica will be effective, only licensed entities will be able to provide crypto asset services in the European market. Those who will do so without a license, those will be basically our targets of supervisory authorities, because we are here not only to impose rules on businesses and supervise them, we are also here to make sure those that do not operate under the rules are not on the market. So the Mica contains tools for competent authorities to basically make sure that the market stays as clear as possible. Of course, it's never going to be without shady actors. We see it everywhere, also on the capital market, where the rules are there for a very long time. Every now and then we see Ponzi scheme appear, and it's not going to be a paradise in 2 years at the European crypto market. But at the same time, the rules will become more clearer. It's for sure the Mica contains a revision clause, so we will see more clarity coming also in the future, and hopefully we will see also let's say less shady business on the European market.
And now the word is Natalia's.
So if we want that Mica will be respected and really useful, there is a need of global effort of everybody to respect these rules. But digital market is global market, so it's really difficult that another countries will respect our rules.
And now I would like to hear from Mateusz, and then I have one question from Mateusz after this.
Okay, so there is no set of regulations, and it's not just the Mica, but talking about the whole regulations that can stop criminal activity. So you ask about the fraudsters. There will still be on the market, as Peter said, that there are on a capital market as well. So we cannot protect everybody from the criminal activity. It still will be in crypto space also. But from the consumer point of view, I think that operating with licensed companies gives you more stability, and you can think that these companies which are regulated won't fraud you and are safe to operate with. So that's.
Yes, I certainly understand that the serious players in the industry are in favor of having some sort of endorsement by following the rules of the Mica regulation. My follow-up question is, how will Mica influence the innovation of the industry in Europe?
Okay, as I said before, in my opinion, it will stop a little bit innovation, because all regulations are stopper for the innovation, but from the point of view of really starting point companies. So they will need to have much more funding to operate in Europe, to be licensed in Europe. So that's why I think that many startups will look for another jurisdictions to start their business trip. But after that, I think that most money the companies can raise and the safe environment they can operate in will be in Europe. So companies after some point of growth will look at Europe and come back to Europe even if they started somewhere else. And for the companies that are good founded, they will start doing it here. And most investors, I think, will want to operate and invest in companies that are in a really safe and clear legal environment, and that will be European Union.
Thank you, Mateusz. And you want to say something more? Yes, go ahead, Peter.
Yes, I think what Mateusz said is true to a certain degree. On the other hand, whenever there are new rules, there are always companies that are providing their solutions how to easier follow the rules. There is the whole RegTech business. The RegTech business is targeting those institutions that are subject to Mica, and they are coming up with automatization solutions that help Mica businesses to comply with the rules. So Mica and AML rules require transaction monitoring, for example. There is a whole big business of RegTech solutions for that. The crypto businesses, as they grow, or even from the startup stage, they want to provide opportunities for remote onboarding of clients. Also for that, there is a market of RegTech companies. Then, speaking about innovation, Mica brings opportunities not only to CASPs, not only to businesses that focus on crypto, but also to traditional finance, because it enables banks, for example, and other regulated entities, brokers, dealers, to start operating in the crypto area. So far, the traditional finance has been a bit reluctant to enter the crypto assets space. Now, when the Mica clearly prescribes what they need to do to start provide crypto asset services, I think we're going to see interest from traditional finance. And we did research about 10 months ago in the National Bank of Slovakia. We asked our market, and not only the small players who focus on crypto, but also banks and other traditional financial institutions, whether they are interested in entering the crypto space. And we received positive answers from, let's say, up to 10 quite large institutions that we know from our market. And this is again opportunity to vendors, to providers of services, to banks and other traditional finance businesses. We already see also in Slovakia there is one crypto company who recently got a huge amount of money because it developed a solution that it's providing to large businesses, enabling them to quickly enter the crypto market. Mica also not only stifles innovation to a certain degree by prescribing high standard the innovators need to follow, it also creates innovations in other areas.
It does indeed. So what are the implications of the Mica's proposal to provide legal framework for initial coin offerings, and how that might impact fundraising in the crypto space? Will you do that one, Mateusz?
Yeah, okay. So maybe, okay, so initial coin offering, right now it was so much gray area, I would say, that it needs to be covered by some set of regulations. But we need to remember that there are some regulations that already cover the topic, so it's not important how you name your coin you're emitting, but what does this coin really provide? What utility, what services this coin provides. So there were some rules already in that topic, but right now I don't want to cover this whole distinction between virtual assets and other types of coins we can create. But thinking just about the ICOs, just about utility tokens, I would say there will be much more specific rules how you market them, how you inform consumers about them, also informing about the risks that are connected to buying such tokens. So it comes back to this whole consumer protection point we already covered, that having this specific type of rules for ICOs for emitting new coins was really needed from the perspective of consumer, which is not educated so much in finances and how crypto works, and is just going with the hype. So I think that it was the main idea about this regulation, about this consumer protection.
Thank you. And a follow-up question here again, and then I will take questions from the audience. How the Mica regulation address the questions of crypto assets that may not fit neatly into the existing categories, such as, for example, non-fungible tokens, NFTs? I guess that's a question for the regulator here, how they're going to deal with those.
Thank you. Well, of course, the Mica has been proposed quite some time ago, and it cannot cover everything. And also there needs to be a good case for covering certain segment of the market. NFTs are basically excluded from the Mica scope, but there is always a hook in these rules. When the NFTs are issued in large quantities, in that case, they might fall under Mica. And what is large quantity? This is something that needs to be clarified in the future, and it's something that is recognized as an opportunity for competent authorities to work together to bring more clarity on how to interpret this rule. There is a bit of legal uncertainty what types of NFTs will fall and which will fall out. Well, we'll see in the future.
Thank you. Anybody else wants to comment, or should I bring questions from the audience? Yes, Natália, come here.
Thank you. About NFT, there is Article 6 of Mica, I think, that make these differences why when NFT will be covered by Mica, I know. But when we speak about token, there was one interesting lawsuit case in Italy between one society which produced token and Juventus, football club Juventus. Juventus sued this society which produced this NFT token with image of Bobo Vieri. Bobo Vieri is one football player. They had the permission from Bobo Vieri, but they haven't permission from the Juventus club for use this image of Bobo Vieri. And the judge decided that blockchain, which is like the NFT, is only the themes which is hypothetically rights or hypothetical business rights. And this NFT image, which was acquired by many people, is only the digital escape from reality, which is covered by industrial law.
So basically, the judge ruled that Juventus have copyright of the picture, and you can't make NFTs like that commercially.
And NFT is only something like digital escape from reality, which is covered.
I think it's a very clever way you're saying a digital escape from reality. It really covers the essence of it. Rock haven't been with us for a while. You want to comment on this one before I start with the audience questions? Otherwise, I'll give the first audience question to you, Rock.
Yeah, just a comment on NFTs. It is a crypto asset, so in the Commission proposal we didn't foresee an explicit exclusion, but it was the decision that it is now excluded. But again, it's a case-by-case assessment. What is fungible, what is non-fungible, that will be conducted by the competent authorities. What is also important is that this issue was also included in the review clause. So the Commission will, in 18 months after the entry into force, also analyze this issue and consider whether something needs to be changed or we leave it like it is. Some other issues that were considered to be premature for regulation.
And the first audience question, sorry, someone wants to say something more? No. First audience questions. Will Mica be able to bridge the gap between crypto and traditional finance? It's a very broad question, so that one is open to everybody. I think we can start with Rock. Or?
Yes, bridge the gap of traditional finance. It is important to know that crypto asset service providers, they will have similar regulation as traditional financial firms. So we were inspired by that. They will be considered like financial institutions. There's, of course, some specificities, but they are regulated in a similar manner. So in this case, they will be also considered as financial institutions. When it comes to investments of traditional sector in crypto assets, there are also other rules that are to be considered. For example, for investments of banks, there are the Basel standards that needs to be considered, which is not Mica. It is included in the banking legislation rules, and it's a separate topic. To what extent banks can invest in crypto assets and what kind of capital requirements needs to imply in this case. This is also important that crypto assets are now also at international level, included in the Basel standards in this respect. So the answer is yes. They are regulated. They are not anymore outside of the regulation. They will have similar status to other financial institutions in the new financial services framework.
Thank you, Rock. And now, Mateusz, do you see this as a bridge?
Okay, as I said before, this bridge between crypto companies and traditional finances is one of the most important key points to make Europe a crypto hub. But from the business perspective, I think that relations between traditional finances and crypto-related companies goes out of scope of regulations. There are just independent business decisions made by financial companies. And I don't think that Mica will help that much in that space, because right now we have, for example, payment services provider. They are fully regulated. These regulations are for working for several years, but they are still having problems with opening bank accounts, with having relation with banks. So that's why, from the really business perspective, I see that it will help making crypto-related companies, fully licensed companies, will help with these relations. But it's not just the regulatory aspect, it's also the business aspect of the players that are already on the market.
Thank you, Mateusz. Peter, you want to comment, or should I bring up the next question from the audience?
Very briefly, I think Mateusz very rightfully mentioned the issue of de-risking, which is something that's been a problem for crypto industry for a long time. De-risking is the issue of AML point of view. It's whether the bank is willing to accept the risk of the client that is engaged in crypto business. We see many banks taking a very strict approach of refusing any clients having to do anything with crypto. And Mica cannot impose on banks an obligations to keep the accounts of crypto companies or open banks for crypto companies. It's still going to be the business decision of the bank and its risk appetite. But there is a hope that after the crypto businesses will be regulated, will be under the clear set of rules, banks will be more willing to do business with them. In other areas that we already covered, there is a clear breach. Mica simply allows traditional finance to provide crypto services, and I think that's a huge step forward.
Thank you. Next question from the audience is a broad question. What are the most important measures that crypto companies must apply when it comes to Mica regulation? I don't think everybody have to answer that, but whoever wants to volunteer. Maybe Mateusz, maybe Peter?
It depends on what the company is doing in the crypto area. If it's an issuer, there are certain rules it needs to follow. So we touched upon certain rules. If it's, let's say, exchange, if it's a trading platform, if it's someone providing advice with respect to crypto assets, the rules can be, let's say, categorized into 3 areas. The first area is about capital. Every crypto asset service provider will need to have certain amount of capital. The 50,000 euro is the minimum. Then depending on the complexity of the business, the requirements can be higher. Then the other, let's say, rule is safekeeping of assets. The assets of the provider needs to be separate from the assets of the client. Then rules, let's say, on outsourcing. Every outsourced activity must be well monitored by crypto asset service provider. There needs to be clear rules between the vendor and crypto asset service provider. Each crypto business will need to comply with certain standards with respect to corporate governance. And then there are rules on transparency. So basically these 3 areas: capital, let's say, internal functioning of the provider, and transparency.
Thank you. And we can continue if Mateusz is happy with the answer.
Yeah, I am.
Very
I was
good.
also curious what the regulator wants to say.
That's good. Well, I think the regulator did a good job describing it with the 3 aspects, so I think it's very much clarified. Here comes another question regarding integrity and individual sovereignty. The core essence of cryptocurrencies is individual sovereignty, non-government money, and now regulating it seems contradictory or impossible. In other words, the person asking the question asking, how will you help customer without breaking the core values of non-government money and individual sovereignty? I can give a short answer. I guess the regulator do not really want so much individual sovereignty. And I give that question to the regulator here. The word is yours, Peter.
Yes, as I said, Mica is not about interfering with, let's say, individual rights, regulating cryptocurrencies. It's about regulating providers. I think that's maybe the short answer to that. And maybe a bit of flavor on top of that. The crypto asset world is very much linked with libertarian thinking, and that's good and that's natural. We've been interacting with this business for quite some time, and we see that there will always be part of the, let's say, consumers and also crypto businesses that see these libertarian values as something very important to them, and that's their point of view, and they have the right to have that point of view. But now the whole crypto industry has matured to a certain level, and if they want to continue provide services to customers, well, they need to follow the rules. They can think whatever they want about the rules, but the rules are there for a good reason, and it's normal for the financial market. Whoever wants to play certain game, he or she needs to follow certain rules.
And Mateusz.
Yeah, we need to remember that Mica does not cover DeFi. So thinking about fully decentralized services, this is not the topic that Mica is regulating. So if you want to feel fully independent, you can just use truly decentralized finance. But Mica is regulating centralized services on top of that. And from the very historic point of view, most big scandals covering crypto, most frauds in crypto space, and most big losses in crypto space were caused by centralized entities. So that's why there is a point of regulating them. If you want to operate in a fully decentralized environment, you can do it, and it's not covered by Mica because it cannot be covered by any regulation.
And I have a question from the audience directed to you, Mateusz. What are the concrete steps if a crypto company wants to comply with Mica? I guess you have to make a very short version of that, because I assume there are many concrete steps.
Okay, so first, if you want to be fully compliant with Mica, the first step is to make good understanding of the whole regulation. And compare it to your current operations or your operations that you are just planning right now. And then you just need to implement that's what's missing in your current company from the regulations that are set. But as I said before, Mica is really general, and we still are waiting for national regulators that will cover many more topics that are not covered just in Mica. So you need to wait a little bit to have this nation, to know how your country will implement Mica in your country regime. So that's why it's not. Right now, it's not possible to be fully Mica compliant because we are lacking this national regulations.
And over to Peter, and then there's a specific question from the audience to Peter.
Yeah, maybe I can just very quickly say that there are 3 steps. First step, read Mica. Second step, go to a law company and ask for advice if there is anything you are not sure about. And if that doesn't help, come to us, come to the regulator, explain what's in the rules that is not clear, and we are open to discussion. We are here also to engage in pre-licensing dialogue. So we are not just waiting with our hands crossed until the Mica comes into effect on December 2024. We are happy to speak to the industry.
And I would like to add there also the auditing industry or the big consulting company are already providing auditing and these things regarding Mica compliance for the future. They're already marketing these products. I guess most companies will sign up for it early next year or at least before the summer next year. So far, I don't think they generated that much business. And here's a specific question for Peter. Are regulators planning to support license CASPs, crypto asset service providers, to be treated fairly on the market? In other words, the right to open bank accounts. Very specific question.
And not a new question.
It's not.
And it's, you know, not something that it's not an easy question. I briefly touched upon it before. It's the issue of de-risking. It's the right of the bank to decide what level of risk it is prepared to accept. The bank should be clear about what documents it needs in order to assess that risk. So whenever a crypto business comes to a bank and wants to open an account, the bank should engage in a dialogue with the crypto business and look into the details, how risky the business of the client is, and only then do the decision whether the bank will or will not open the bank account. This is basically what's in the rules. It's not possible to change it. You know, if the bank risk appetite is at a certain level, then it's the business decision of the bank, and we as a regulator don't have much power to change the mind of the bank. What we don't like to see is that the banks do not do their homework, if they do not ask for specificities, if they do not ask for documents from the crypto business. This is something that we do not like, and whenever we will have evidence that this has happened, that the bank didn't really interact with its client, then we can act. And as I mentioned, this is not new to us, but so far there have been very, very few cases where a crypto business came to us and provided a clear evidence that the bank didn't do its job properly. So there are, rumors on the market that this is the prevalent practice, and we see that the crypto businesses have difficulties, but at the same time they are not coming to us with real evidence. So it's also something that they need to do.
Thank you, Peter. I will follow up with a follow-up question from me to Mateusz. Are you conveniently banked?
I'm banked.
Okay.
but it's not easy relation. So as I said before, I don't think that Mica will change this relation between banks and crypto-related companies. And if I can ask one more question, don't you think that banks have too much power in that space? I'm not talking just about crypto companies. I'm talking about whole financial companies that needs to operate with bank accounts. And I know many of them, not just from the crypto space, also from payment space, that are shutting down, struggling and grow because of the problems with banks.
maybe one answer to that is that it's not just banks who provide accounts. CASP can open an account also with electronic money institution, and it's quite often the case. The problem with electronic money institutions in many countries is that they do not have access to payment systems. But this is something that is going to change with PSD3. There is the amendment to Settlement Finality Directive that should make it possible also for non-banks to connect to payment systems. And then there will be a larger market for CASPs. They will have more opportunities to open accounts.
We're almost running out of time here. I have one more question for the audience. It's a wide question. I will give it to Rock. What is the role of the regulator and government when talking about fostering financial innovation, no matter if it's crypto, digital payments, AI and finance, etc.? It's a very broad question. Can you please, Rock, answer this one in 1 minute, and we will round off this discussion after that.
Yeah, so our EU approach is actually, in general, that we want to promote innovation in the European Union. This is the first signal. But of course, we want to address the risks that come from these new technologies. And this is exactly what we are doing with crypto. We address the risk because it's in the realm of the financial services, it's investor protection, market integrity, financial stability, monetary sovereignty. Whereas in terms of other technology, artificial intelligence, you have also other societal concerns that you need to protect, like privacy and things like that. So it's promoting innovation while addressing the risk and providing for a legal, predictable framework.
Thank you. Anybody else want to say some last comments on Mica before we close the panel discussion?
Yes, maybe just one remark. I spoke much about our preparedness, our steps we are taking, the transparency and stuff. But it's not just the supervisory authority that makes the whole environment in a country friendly. It's also, there are also many other pieces of puzzle that needs to click together. Recently, we adopted, or the Parliament adopted, a change in the taxation of cryptocurrencies, but there are many other aspects that needs to align to make the environment attractive for innovative business. And now we are after the election, so it remains to be seen how this whole puzzle will be creating, if it clicks in this country.
Thank you, Peter. Mateusz, some final comment, or you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I think we covered everything.
Okay, and Natália. Natália is good too. In that case, I would like to thank our panel members, Peter Pénzeš, Head of Crypto Asset Innovation Section of the National Bank of Slovakia, Rok Žvelc, our online participant, Legal Officer at DG FISMA at the European Commission, Mateusz Kara, CEO at RE10, and last but not least, Natália Michalovová from the law firm Prosman and Pavlovič. Thank you so much, panel members, and an applaud for the panel, please.